Welcome to Great Loop Lifestyles. I'm Kim Russo with AGLCA, and we are visiting New York City as part of the Great Loop. Many things you can see and do in New York City. We definitely encourage everyone to do some research, and whatever your thing is, you will find it in New York City. This is often a multi-day stop for loopers, sometimes up to a week, because there are just so many opportunities to see some wonderful sights. We spent the first several days of our visit in New York in Staten Island. Great Kills Harbor is a great place to tie up or to get a mooring ball. And from there, because Staten Island is part of the five boroughs of New York City, the transportation system to get you into all of the sites of Manhattan is simple, cheap, and relatively fast. So it's a great choice. And even on Staten Island, there are several really good restaurants. So a few we wanted to point out. Within a very easy walk of the marinas here in Great Kills Harbor, the first one is Cole's Dockside. Casual, really good food though, and a pretty extensive menu. They also have a price fixed menu where it's 3 or 4 courses for a really reasonable price, and they even include some wine in that. And then the other in close walking distance is the Marina Cafe, and that is a little bit more upscale, a little more special occasion, but we had a great meal there and enjoyed the atmosphere and the view immensely. Also within a short walk of the marinas there is Frank and Sal's Italian Market. This has wonderful Italian food that they've imported from Italy. They also make some cheeses, some of the meats. It's a full butcher shop. In addition to the Italian specialties, they also do have fresh fruits and vegetables. So it really is a full market for whatever you might need to get to stock up the boat. But they also have prepared food. We kind of stocked up on some of the Italian chicken parmesan and dishes like that, put them in our freezer for when we left there. And the last one we want to show you is Piccolino Restaurant. A little bit of a longer walk from the marina, but still under a mile. And they also have a price fixed menu with 3 or 4 courses. I think it was for around $30 to $35. So also made it pretty reasonable to do that. And a couple of other things to point out to you though. In that area right there by Piccolino is where you can get the train that will take you directly to the Staten Island ferry, and then the ferry can take you across to Manhattan. And then this area here, closer to the marina, is where you can grab a bus, and that will take you across to Manhattan as well. The bus goes through Brooklyn, and either way you end up in Manhattan. The bus will take you to Midtown, where the ferry takes you to Lower Manhattan. So depending on where you're going for the day, would give you the option of which of those choices is going to work best for you. They're both inexpensive. Both took an hour and a half or so from door to door. So it is a little time consuming, but it's a great way to get there, particularly when you don't have a car, and even if you did, the parking would be so expensive you would not want to drive into Manhattan. The first time we went into Manhattan, we did take the Staten Island ferry across, and you get beautiful views from the ferry of Lower Manhattan as you're approaching the ferry terminal. You also go by some of the landmarks like Ellis Island as you are on your way, and also the Statue of Liberty, which you'll see here in a minute. But if you're not taking the Staten Island ferry, no worries, because this is actually also part of the Great Loop route itself. So regardless of where you make your stops, you are going right past the Statue of Liberty, right past Ellis Island, right past Lower Manhattan, and the views are absolutely phenomenal. Make sure you try to arrive at the statue when you're on your own boat with a buddy boat who can take a picture for you of your boat and the statue. But regardless of which way you get into Lower Manhattan, whether you take the ferry across from Liberty Landing Marina, and Liberty Landing Marina is an AGLCA sponsor, we spent one night there. It is more expensive than Staten Island, but you cannot beat these views. So we felt like it was a good thing to splurge on. It's a very well protected marina, as you can see. The service is great. We really enjoyed staying at Liberty Landing Marina. And of course, from Liberty Landing, the ferry takes you right across to their ferry terminal there in Lower Manhattan. So you can get there that way if you're coming from the Jersey City Liberty Landing area, or if you come in on the Staten Island ferry from Staten Island, you are in the heart of Lower Manhattan. So the Charging Bull of Wall Street is right in this area, so you can go take pictures with that. Certainly a must-see is the Freedom Tower and the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. Kind of hard, honestly, to do some of the exhibits in this museum, and that's kind of why it's important to do. So we spent an afternoon at the museum, When we finished that, we went up to the Freedom Tower. It has the One World Observatory at the top. So you get some spectacular views of any part of New York City you want to see. You can see the Hudson River. That is actually us looking back at Liberty Landing Marina from the Freedom Tower. So the One World Observatory, I've been up there at night in the past too, and it really is spectacular to view things. The Brooklyn Bridge, here is a view of it from the One World Observatory. But one of my favorite things to do is actually to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. It's only about a mile from where the ferry terminal drops you off to get to the Brooklyn Bridge. Walking across is beautiful scenery, and as you just saw, that area I was pointing out kind of at the foot of the bridge on the Brooklyn side is an area known as Dumbo, which stands for Down Under the Manhattan Bridge. And that area between the Brooklyn Bridge and the Manhattan Bridge really has a lot going on there on the Brooklyn side. Lots of shops, restaurants, ice cream. It's really turned into a tourist mecca of its own. Next up is Hudson Park. This park runs along the Hudson River. It's kind of a linear park that will take you from Lower Manhattan towards Midtown. There's lots of restaurants along here, even a winery or two. Some really neat sites like this kind of raised garden area. But it's a nice walkway. If you're feeling ambitious, you can walk right from where the ferry from Liberty Landing in Jersey City takes you and walk right towards Midtown, which we did one day. And we got a little tired of walking and thought we would finish up on a subway or bus. So we headed a little bit into the city and happened upon the Chelsea Market, which is something I had not visited before, but an old factory that has kept the industrial look and added lots of artisan shops, so many restaurants. We really could have spent many hours there exploring the Chelsea Market. If you choose to walk through the heart of the city instead of the park along the edge, there's so many little neighborhoods in here. You've got Greenwich Village, you've got Little Italy, you've got Chinatown. So much to see and do. We unfortunately did not have enough time to do all of that on this trip. We also spent a day in Midtown. If you are coming from Staten Island and take the bus in, you will arrive in Midtown. And Grand Central Terminal is really a site of its own. So it's a wonderful way to arrive in the city. The Empire State Building is in the Midtown area and has its own observation deck. That shot you saw was actually looking at it from One World observation deck at the Freedom Tower, but you can also do something similar from the Empire State Building. Next up is Times Square. You can see all of the lights, the advertising, lots of shops here, and this whole area has a lot of shops. Rockefeller Center, if you are there, the top of the Rock also has an observation deck. And Rockefeller Center, of course, is where the Today Show is filmed. And in the winter, there is the ice rink that you can see. And in the summer, this year, it is a roller rink. So it started to downpour right about the time we were visiting and taking this video. And we ducked inside to a building and sat down for some burgers and milkshakes and had about the best milkshakes we've ever had. And that was at Matt's Bar and Burger in Rockefeller Center. This area is also the theater district, so it is home to many Broadway shows. We were fortunate to see Wicked, and that is the stage set for Wicked, and we were also fortunate to see Moulin Rouge. A lot of the longer running shows have much more reasonably priced tickets than the new shows. So there were a couple of newer ones we would have loved to see, but decided to do a little bit more budget friendly and see some of the long time shows, and they were fabulous. And the world famous Radio City is also right here in this area. One of my favorite things to do if you're just in the mood for some window shopping is to stroll down Fifth Avenue. All of the high-end shops have a presence here in this area of Fifth Avenue. You'll pass St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is a beautiful church there in Manhattan. And you'll work your way towards Central Park, and the Plaza Hotel is where the carriage rides for Central Park load up. So if you're in the mood for a special ride with your sweetheart, you can do that very romantic carriage ride. So that's a look at New York City. Like I said, more to see and do than you could possibly do in a few days. We have family in the area, so in addition to what we did here, we spent some family time and had an outstanding visit. I wish we could have spent longer, but we moved on, and our next Great Loop Lifestyle will be coming to you covering the Hudson Valley, and it's a stunning scenery and lots of historic and other things to do. So we'll be back with that shortly. Thanks for watching.